I'm starting now to record this meeting, and I will upload it to the Google file, to the Google Drive, and to the YouTube, and we'll have everything available for those of you who want to see it again or want to share it. So again, Mr. Paredes, I thank you very much for your agreement that you agreed to be with us on this meeting and to share your experience and your ideas. We gathered some questions and some topics to talk about, and we will try to share them together and to hear about your opinion about these topics.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for this kind of invitation. Now that the referees there in your group, Israel's group, and the other referees join us this afternoon. So I'm very glad to be here, and I will try to be clear as much as possible, speaking and answering your questions during this meeting.
Okay. So I will start with the first one. You have been now the chairman of the commission for several years. When were you nominated? I guess you had goals and missions you wanted to accomplish and achieve. Which of them did you achieve already, and which you are still working on? Are there any topics that you want to change but not able to change them by any forces?
Yeah, well, it's the main ideas I had when I got a commission as a president was my goal. My main goal was to change mentality and the philosophy of refereeing, the refereeing around the world, because I thought that by us, including me, of course, and the former leaders, regarding the new approaching of the volleyball in the world. Volleyball in the world is now a show. It's not only a sport, but this is a show, a big show. So we need to join both things in order to get in the same time accompanying our sport, which is the volleyball. The VNS can change now completely the volleyball in the way that we are showing an excellent sport and an excellent show for everybody. And this is good to call attention of the people around the world. Now stakeholders deserving to receive another kind of approaching from the referee side as well. So in my opinion, what this is changing the philosophy of the referee is not the main person in the court. It's just one of the person in the court. And I think we got it, at least with the top group of referees in category A of the FIVB, which are repeating competition after competition, is the FIVB top level. They understand very well the new meaning of the new philosophy. So this is one of the achievements we got it. The other one was to change the former referee delegate into a referee coach. Now we change us just to get a different approach into the referees as well. The referee delegate, it was like an observer and some like a teacher taking test from the referees, examination from the referees. Instead to help them, it was against the referee most of the time. Referee every match when there was a referee delegate, there was submitted to an examination, to an exam. So it's a contrary what we are now we're willing to have is a coach instead to be there. My philosophy in this matter is starting by saying that we are the third team on the court. There are a team A, a team B, and the team R, let's say the refereeing team as well. We have the first referee, the second referee, the channel referee, reserve referee, the scorer, and line judges, of course. So both the teams, A and B, has a coaching staff helping them in preparation, in practicing, in providing techniques, in many other issues in favor of the players. What about us? Why not the referee has a coach as well? The refereeing team has a coach as well. That was an approach. And then I convinced all of the members of the commission to change the philosophy instead to have a referee delegate to become a referee coach with a different approach, showing another point of view to the referees, instead to be teachers or observers or just some examinator becoming a helper, helping them, the referees, to the preparation, helping through our technology, helping through our statistics, helping through our videos, and many other things. Instead to count mistakes, we all make mistakes, of course. Instead to count mistakes and decreasing points, hello, I'm sorry. Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. We hear you. Okay.
Okay. We are now coaching, preparing them. Hey. Watch it.
Yeah.
Well, we are preparing them now to face the games in the proper way. We are helping the referees. If instead to see the mistake of the referee, let's see now why they made a mistake. What is the reason for that mistake in order to correct for the next match and increase also. And another goal, which is very positive, proof by now, is that the dedicated channel referee, instead to have among the referee nominated to a competition, among them to perform as well as a channel referee during matches, I got that the channel referees are separated completely. It's another function. It's a different referee. So this was very good for the referee as well. They are specialists. They are very good as working again and again and again, getting more experience after 2 years performing as a channel referee exclusively. And on the other hand, the field referee, let's say, the FIVB international referee, like Washington, as I said, them only dedicated to be referee on the field of play. That's to whistle, referee with the whistle and say. Then there are some other points we are not working on, it's not yet finished. Fabrizio, hello.
Hello.
Which we're not working, we are working on that. This is to prepare maybe this probably next year, this year, not this year, the next year, because of the problem with the pandemic, at the World Referee Plan, covering all the referees in the world, doesn't matter, male referee plan, because we wish to get more women involved in refereeing in the top level and the FIVB level, and as well at the national levels. This is a very ambitious female referee plan we are working on now. And then is the professional refereeing, which is the now in process. Let's say we are in progress. It's not yet did it, but we are convincing many people that we will need in the near future to have also professional referees.
Okay, thank you very much. You were talking about coaches, the referee coaches. As referees are different one from the other by personality and by the understanding of the match and situation. Sometimes referee coaches are different one from another as well. Normally, the guidelines extended to the referees are expected to be more or less the same. So what is the policy to create and maintain a common approach by the referee coaches to evaluate and help the referees?
Yeah, that is quite true. You said people are different from each other, no question. And as well, it happened that in the past were more clear even that the referee delegates were different one each other. In other of internal guideline, we perform a webinar for referee coaches. In the past, we are doing every year. We're repeating this year as well, the same webinar. We are following a different way than before. It's not, I repeat it to you, it's not to take in the R4 form just for taking points from the referees and giving at the end of the game a very good, so no longer qualification at that. We need to provide feedback. We need to provide feedback about the performance of the referee during the match, not about a mistake of the referee, not a qualification of the referee, just performance of the referee, which is different. For say something, it's not necessary now for the other side, on our side, I'm sorry, as a referee coach, to watch the game and see that, oh, it was a block touch missed by the referee. Oh, it was a net touch missed by the referee. Oh, it was something physical. No, no, no. The new view now is that why did the referee miss the block touch or miss the net touch? Why? This is the difference. So we need to see the referees instead to see the game. To enjoy the game, we can be probably in front of television, in front of some, or even in the hall, but enjoying the game. In this case, we are working with the referee. Like a coach, we need to work with the referee. Why? The player did such a mistake. Was the position correct? Was the approach into the ball correct? Was the lecture of the game was correct? And so we will need to work in that direction. This is what we instruct the referee coaches. Of course, like you said, we are different in each other. Probably our imprint is different from each other as well. But the same technique we need to use, and the same technique the referee coach are receiving the all full set of techniques we are using for that. Videos, statistics, different things than before.
Okay, so still talking about the referee coaches, at the end of the match, the referee coach talks to the referees, says his topics and gives them the R4 with the comments. Sometimes in the R4, it's written the percentage of correct or incorrect challenges added at the end of the R4. Does this percentage have any weight or influence on the evaluation on the final score of the referees?
Well, now it's there are two. That's it. Hello, I lost you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's okay. Well, there's different things here. That's a R4 form, as I told you, just for collecting data for the match in order to discuss with the referees at the end of the game. It's no longer given to the referees because there's not necessary to get anything from there. There's not evaluation in terms of points. No longer points, no longer very good, bad, regular, or so. No. We may collect some things from there is a data to speak with the referees after the match. Like you say, the referee coach go to the dressing room to join the referees after the match and speak about that, about the match. Most of the time we are getting the statistics sheet from the challenge referees join us as well, everybody's there. And only when there is some, let's say, some very important topic to discuss about the challenge, we can proceed to discussing there. But statistics are not the same. It doesn't matter. We know that very well that light block touches that ball in or out are completely out of our hands sometimes, out of our view sometimes. Sometimes it's even difficult to see by the cameras, by the videos in the challenge system. So you can imagine what about the human eyes. So we're not taking care about that anymore. No. The first thing is when we go to the dressing room is to ask the referee about their own performance, because this is one of the main characteristics of the referee. It must be very, let's say, self-criticize with him or her. He or she needs to say, yes, I made a couple of mistakes. I will need to do, I will have to know how to change this in order to avoid for the future. And so that's it. Receiving their feedback. Sometimes, most of the time, thanks God, there's nothing to say, just a simple interchanging of words, because most of the referees and most of the matches in the referee, nowadays referees are very clear, very good. Referees are performing really, really well. This is why sometimes it's just simple to see each other, to speak for a while, drink a coffee, and finish. See you tomorrow. But if there is something really deserving to be discussed, not with a small group at that match, but with the complete group or nominated referee for the competition, we need to set up for the morning after a meeting with all together. If this is not necessary to get such a meeting, we avoid that, giving the rest time for the referee, free time for enjoy the moment, for walking, but many things. This is the reason. But remember, there's no longer given to the referees copy of the R4. The R4 is just for collating information. That's it. And of course we have numbers there, but the number is also for the ranking, international ranking. There are over 200 referees in the top level. Probably there are, in the first ranking, number one, probably there are 20, 25 referees. Not only one, but the same ranking, you say, but this is just to have a ranking, a kind of ranking of those referees.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question, so if we're talking about the referees, by your vision, what are the main characteristics you are looking for in a referee? Are top level referees different than what you're looking? Of course, besides knowing the rules and how to apply them in the match itself, what are you looking for by your vision at a referee?
Well, there are many things in that good referee, many characteristics to form a very good referee. As I told you before, we are happy, and I am very happy because this is my time ahead of the commission, the FIVB, and I can count with many referees which are very, very good characteristics. Let's say this: the personality is one of the characteristics. Must be gentle, must be smart, has commitment, honest, of course, humble. The referee must have authority, credibility, one of the top things, and must be ethic, must have consistency, must be a game player, let's say, together with other team, with the referee. A game knowledge is very important to understand the game, in order to understand well the game, in order to take the right decision in the proper moment. As I said before, my capacity of self-criticism must be tolerant for certain situation. You can dominate yourself with a storm moment of the game. Must be respectful, it must be equilibrated, it must have an equilibrated self-confidence as well. This is, as among other, probably there are many other characteristics for involving a good referee in the world. We are not talking about kids, we are talking about top referees. Top referees. Most of the top referees in our volleyball nowadays has that kind of characteristics. I can't hear you. Sorry, Gorin, can't hear you.
I think I'm having a little bit problems with my microphone. I'm trying. Now
Okay.
Now it's okay. We all know let's talk a little bit about the commission. We all know that the rules of the game and the refereeing commissions were merged together. What is your opinion of this decision? How such a big commission with so many topics work in all aspects?
Well, it was changed by the idea of the president. And when I became the president of the commission, the first meeting we had, it was only 1 day meeting. Before, we used to have 3 days meeting, 2 commissions, different rules of game, one side, refereeing commission by the other side. The first day, each commission separately, the second day, joint meeting, and the third day again separately. And they used to work well in this style. But when it changed here, I need to do something different. How to work both commission in only 1 day. It was completely different than the very, very deep thing that the moment passed. So it's us. The idea was, nowadays we keep doing the same, is that to separate the commission, to split the commission into 4 groups. the four groups are taking care of different things. One of the group is the categorization and statistics of the referees. He's in charge of Mr. Titov, Sergei Titov, he's the leader. The second group is referee categorizations, and no, sorry, this was the first. The referee teaching. Rules of the Game Commission. The third group is for rules and regulation, in charge of Laszlo Herpai. And the fourth group is the beach volleyball, in charge of Jose Casanova, which is the secretary of the commission at the same time. So this way we can work better than before. We can split in the group. We have four people in each group working specifically in the matters of that group. And at the end of the day, we can join all together again, and we can decide about that conclusion they got during the meeting and so on. Now is the structure of the meeting is in the morning. Early in the morning, we have a general, we call all of the members of the commission are in the same meeting. We call, don't remember what the name. This is with the presence of the president of the FIVB, some other leaders, the secretary, Fernando Lim, and some others. And we adjust the agenda for the rest of the day. We receive some instruction from the president, we receive his approach, we receive his speech, and then we split into the commission, taking the most part of the day working, and at the end of the day, we have another plenary meeting, it's all together just to discuss about the conclusions reached by each group to get the final decision of the day. This is the meeting started. I'm in favor of that. This is very good, and we can take profit for the whole day working there. And on the other side, we can save some money from the budget.
Okay, understood. Refereeing commissions of the confederations receive informations and guidelines from the FIVB rules of the game and refereeing commission. What is the policy of the FIVB Joint Commission to standardize and improve the work of the Confederations Commission?
Well, it's in this case, our main policy is communication, close communication with all the five continental commission presidents. We can provide some guidelines, some advice, some ideas, but we cannot go into their internal affairs, their internal commissions, because the realities are very different from each other. This is not the same Europe than Africa or South America or North Africa, so there's a difference in between them. So we can provide advices, idea that they can freely use, but we are not going to oblige them. The only exception which they are obliged is to use the rules of the game and the regulation and technical aspects of the game, but not the things. This is the way we can reach them. We are completely in touch. I said probably every week we are in touch with the president of the refereeing commissions in continentals just to exchange some information when they need something, or to provide from our side some other information. This is the way. There is not let's say a line political to do something, to do some other something. They are free, completely free.
Okay. I think I'm having a problem, and this meeting will be cut in less than a minute, and so we can restart the meeting, because I probably didn't. I have a problem with my account, and it's limited for 40 minutes every section of meeting. So if the meeting stops for any reason, just reconnect and we will start a new meeting again. I hope it will not happen. This is the first time, but I'm receiving some kind of notice that in less than a minute it could be stopped. So we just, yes, thank you very much for joining us again. I'm sorry for having this problem with my account. I will have to for the next meeting. Okay, so we were talking about the work of the FIVB Commission with the Confederations Commissions. Do you have any policy of standardize or improve the work of the Confederations Commissions? How does the FIVB try to improve the work of the Confederations Commissions, the refereeing commissions of the Confederations themselves?
Well, as I told before, we are providing advice. We are providing ways of helping them in development, the refereeing in the areas. As I told you before, there's no one line for everybody in the world because there are very different realities in a different part of the world. And so we are in close contact with presidents. Just before I received some WhatsApp from a couple of presidents of commissions, wherein they say weekly contact with the president of Continental Refereeing Commission to speak about the different ways they are doing. They can do some in their own confederation. As I told you, we have our own style in the FIVB. We have our own line in the FIVB. We follow some kind of policy regarding the referees in the FIVB. And we are encouraging the Continental Refereeing Commission president to adopt the same policy in this commission, to get as well, to have as well a categorization system into the Confederation Commission, to have as well a different way of approaching to the referee, to change into referee coach instead to keep the former style of a referee delegate. So we provide, let's say, we provide advice. We help them as much as possible, but we cannot apply them to do something. This is up to them. It's after the policy is internally in each confederation and in each continental refereeing commission the same. The only different thing is that from the technical aspect is different. Technical view, refereeing, regulations, rules of the game, they have to apply the rules of the game of the FIVB when they play in international level within the confederation. The other thing is up to them to apply, to use or not. As I told you, first is a different reality from each other. So sometimes some things can be adapted from one countries, from one confederation in other not. So it's their own decision.
Okay. Today, the international refereeing courses are in the responsibility of the confederations. How does the FIVB want to ensure that the FIVB's standards will be followed by the continental courses? Did you instruct any basic guidelines to the confederations for these courses, like age limit, like medical status? Have the confederations any other instructions different than those of the FIVB referee commission?
Yes, well, that this is, yes, yes, the courses, international courses are in the hands of the Continental Confederation now. So we are not taking care of that, but we are for that commission, we have some different things. Let's say, sorry, for that course, some different steps. First thing is to validate an international referee course. Is obligatory that the course is being conducted by an FIVB referee instructor. And it's obligatory that they abide the FIVB referee course regulation. And it's this regarding age, regarding medical status, and other important matters. They are obliged to go through all that. The thing is that we are not obliged that the continental courses, the international referee course made at continental level be on the English as compulsory language. It could be in another language. Probably it's not good for having an international referee course here in South America, well, in English, while all of the countries here is speaking Spanish, and the Brazil is speaking Spanish as well, or we can understand. They speak Portuguese, in fact, but they can understand each other easily, no problem at all. And then it's the elite referee course, the FIVB international referee course. Yes, that is obligatory, it's compulsory to have in English, but not in previous steps. So they can do it this way. And we can provide, and we not can provide, we provide a model of the program to be followed. Limit of between 7, 9, and 10 days, 10 days, of course, to be together with international level competition, which is it's important for practicing of the referees at that time. But we can provide many things about that, but we are not organizing the course. Course is organized by the Continental Refereeing Commission, confederations, continental confederations.
So talking about the age limit or medical issues, this is all on the responsibility of the confederations themselves to decide if...
No, because this is into the refereeing course, the rules, I'm sorry.
The regulations.
Yeah, the regulation of the refereeing course. It is in there, so it's not possible. Age must be respected. Now is 45 years old, the top possibility. 45 years old in the age of the course. And medical regulation is depending on the medical commission of the FIVB. Every year is adjusting, changing something, so we need to go throughout every year the regulation. For us, it's the same thing. Probably, not probably, for sure, the next year we will have with different things, the refereeing regulation, sorry, the course regulation.
So for the international, for the FIVB international course, is there a different age limit than the course of the continental ones? Because I guess that for the FIVB, you would prefer to have younger referees or that have longer years per time period to be acting as referees. If I would be at age 45, it gives me maybe 10 years or less to come to the FIVB. So for the international courses that the FIVB is going to organize, for those top levels, is there a different age limit than the other ones?
No, it's 45. It's 45. This we can get referees in that limit to become international, FIVB international referee. There is a difference. We have in our regulation now is 3 years starting by category C, but I think we are going to move that because, or even keeping that years probably to instead to 3 years, obligatory to be 2 years at least, and we can leave open the door to let's say to treat special cases. There are some referees which are really very talented. They don't need to stay 2 years waiting for move to the next category if they are really very able to be in the next category without waiting for such a time. So it's depending, but we leave the door open. Instead to close door for referees, we need to have the door open just in case we can treat case by case. And of course, we need to put into the consideration of our administration later on.
Mm-hmm. So talking about those referees in the FIVB tournaments, we see more and more competitions and tournaments that run every year. The top level of referees are working very hard as they are nominated both also for the confederations, for the top matches in the confederation, and also by the FIVB as well. We also heard about the new system, as you were talking now, of having FIVB referees to whistle in FIVB events, meaning the international referees, FIVB referees, to separate them. More or less, can you tell us how many referees will there be in those categories of the FIVB levels? Will the categories be larger with more referees than there are now, so to help to give more nominations to more referees and reduce a little bit the workload from the top referees?
Yes, well, what you say is quite right. This is sometimes a problem because the referees are not so professional so far involved in the referees, so it depends from other incoming works, personal profession and some other things, and sometimes it's very hard for them to accept to be refereeing in all top competition in the FIVB. I'm talking mostly in Europe. It's happened that because Europe has a very big, very large competitions like the Champions League, some other league in the Europe, and of course they as well involved in FIVB competitions. Now with the VNL, we have to use 2 months, let's say, completely 2 months, almost available for the VNL, which is very, very demanding for people, for top level referees in the world. And then beside this, we have some other world championships. Also next year will be the Olympic Games, and so it's if the referees are working in their own confederation, top level, and then is working in the FIVB top level as well, probably they will not have time enough for properly work and the personal things for properly working or developing the personal the professions, and so this is getting a problem for us. But anyway, unfortunately, nowadays we don't have a very large number in the A category with the same top level referees, same level of referees to cover all the possibilities without demanding so many time from their side. And in this case, the working is the only things, the only possibility. The working in the FIVB category is starting by the category C in the FIVB level, but starting from the national level in our national federation, preparing national referees in the good, let's say, the good way in order to reach the highest level in the near future. And we're starting with the category C. Category C is for the referees starting to be involved in the FIVB competitions, breathing the new environment of volleyball there, which is probably for Europe is let's say is common, but from other continental confederation are not so common. They need to be involved in there to start to working with technology, working with challenge system, and so we are creating a good group of referees for going throughout the years till the first level, to the top level. Like the teams with players, I always make this comparison. When studying a group of players in a national federation, these are starting by youth categories, then they move to the junior category, then go to the senior categories. So referee happen the same. We are studying in the youth categories as well, and at the same time, contemporarily, on the same players, moving to the next category, and so. So it's these referees reaching the high level in the first part of their career is in the same way like the players, and they will know each other very much because they will repeat in many competitions each other. So this is good for volleyball, good for us, and good for the player as well. And this is what we need. We need to every year having a good referees to be inserted in the category C after passing the course. But we need to prepare where national federation and continental confederation prepare referees in order to be able to reach the higher level then, starting by the youth category. Our youth category is C and the level of referee, you know. This is the only way we have so far until that we can be probably near future having a professionalism into the volleyball and refereeing volleyball. It could be different. So we can, in this case, we can say, yes, Mr. Gorin, you have to be to the FIB, for the FIVB availability the whole year around, without any excuse. You don't need to work because you will be paid for that. But we don't know what it happened. So far, we are dealing with this. And we come with with many sacrifices sometimes, because many referees really sacrifice personal family vacation to take the moment for assisting in a competition or the FIVB competition or some other competition.
Yeah.
This is a big problem.
I think this is the sickness hour for this is what we referees, when we decide to become international referees, this is the problem that we signed a contract with our families to make understand that this is going to be the price that we need to pay, because we're going to be very busy as international referees. I can say for sure that when I married my wife at the altar, just before saying I do, I told her, I remember what is the offer, but I will do if you remember.
Yes, sure, yes.
In my mind.
Yes, for sure. If my boss allows, we can.
For sure. We had the questions in the VNL competitions. First of all, I have Michael Temalis. He wanted to ask some question, please.
Yeah.
Michael.
Hello, Mr. President. How are you? Hello, everybody.
Hello, Michael.
No, I just want to ask you about the new category of challenge referees. Are going to be a number of them? How many will be that group at the age limit for them? Is there an age limit for them? That's the question for me.
Oh, yeah. For a challenge referee, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, we have not officially stated, but it should be 65, probably 65, the age limit for a challenge referee. And we were discussing, so it probably will appear in the new, in the coming regulation, FIVB event regulation. Probably it's not yet decided. We're changing some things this year. The next year we will have a new regulation. There's no competition this year. We take the time for changing some things, and we are thinking about 65. It's not yet decided.
How many referees will be in this category? You decided the number of the referees. Now I think it's about 18, 19.
Today is 18.
18.
Yeah, the total is 18 today, but this the next year probably could join some others, and the next year so and others as well. That
Okay.
In our policy is those referees which are finishing because of age limit their career as active referee, we can invite someone of them, to make the course for a challenge referee, to become challenge referee because they involved with the challenge system because they were working the last years of their career, they're working with the challenge system properly. So this is better than start from zero.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Another question that we had in the VNL competitions, is there a limit of number of referees from the same country to be nominated to those VNL matches?
Yeah, well, no, there's no limit. No limit. We need to use the best referee for the best competition. And the VNL is one of the best competition of the FIVB. So if there is 4, 5, 6 referees in given country, which is good level in the A category, Big One category, are able to be involved with the VNL, we can nominate all of them, no problem. In the same amount. There's no longer limit about that. We need to be in favor of our game.
Okay. I have a question that came. We were talking about this in some other meetings that we had. During matches, we see sometimes we witness arguments and discussions that the players and the coaches have with the referees. In the most cases, it's because the coaches or the players do not fully understand the rules and their implementation. We had a meeting arranged between Mr. Helpai and the Israeli coaches to try to explain the rules and the situation, as well as trying to give a basic explanation of the psychology of the referee, and to try to, with this, to reduce the tension between both parties. The referee commission is working with the referees. Does the rule of the game commission work with the coaches and players to try to give them tools and information to understand why the referees whistle as we do, why we implement and why we do our decisions as we do them during the match?
Well, in fact, we don't have any plan for that. We don't have a policy for that, to have formal meetings with the coaches, commission, and somebody. In this case, in this aspect, we are in close contact with the FIVB coaches commission and technical commission. I personally talked with Hugh McCutcheon, American Olympic champion coach, which is the president of the coaches commission of the FIVB, in regarding some aspects of the rules of the game. they are part of the rules of the game, like we are, and like the player. They are the main actors, the players. Then are the coaches, and then we, the referees as well. So we all are involved in the willing of having a very good rules of the game in favor of volleyball, of course. So we need to talk with them, and we are talking permanently before producing a big change in the rules of the game. No question. We go through our coaches commission and discuss with them as well about that. Regarding matches itself, the behavior of coaches around the world is a wide different, let's say, different humor they have, different personalities they have. So we cannot just speak with one coach because he's personal thinking about volleyball. It's not thinking about referees like we are thinking about refereeing like a referees, let's say. We are in a common interest. They don't have common interest with the coaches, but we can speak many times in the ale and the dinner rooms and the breakfast in hotel, because we share with them many times with the teams, with coaches, and many times we are talking about that. We're talking informally, not with let's say, not with a plan to speak with the coaches in certain things. No, we are interchanging ideas, comments, and so about the last day refereeing, about the last year refereeing. So it doesn't matter. But it's really different because you can speak with a coach, the same match, they have different approach. They have different approach. They are, well, it's good, no, it's not good, or something is bad, or no, something is not well. Some coaches are professional, they're doing the best for their teams, they are trying to get the best for their team as well, they're trying to push the referee when they think that they wish to do it, they have to do it, they do, doesn't matter. Why they play within the rules of the game, for us it's the same. It's the same. They are part of the game.
Okay. We have had some opinions and discussions about how in the new system of volleyball now that we want to have a big show and referees are part of the show of this match and everything. There is big cooperation between the producers or the jury and the referees in order to have the referees work to make the match a good show. So on this opinion, there was also one discussion talking about how to work also with the coaches to bring them together for this, the same idea, to bring the show, to bring the match as a big show, and not to cause them or give them the option to become the stars of the show, because the coaches are not the stars of the show. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is we need to be gentle. We need to be polite with everybody, because the referee must be polite with all involved, with all people involved in there. And the thing here, the action here is to be in favor of the game. We have to understand the game. It's not only to know the rules of the game. We need to understand the game, but this is most important. The referee must understand the game. So when is the moment that the whistle is not necessary at that time? Just leaving them playing, because the show must go on in a good way. And when they can stop the referee, the players, but calming down the player for a certain moment when they are very excited, they are very emotional, and they're reacting for some things happen in the match, and so, but not the coaches. Not the coaches. We can talk with the coaches. As a second referee, we can talk with the coaches. We instruct the referees, the second referee, to ask the coaches when there is some request for challenge, to be sure, completely sure, which is the challenge they are requesting for. Sometimes there's a misunderstanding between the head coach, which is normally standing up close to the court, and the assistant coach, which is normally taking care of the tablet on the bench. So in this case, the coach asking, challenge, an action. The net, ball in or out, the net could be ball in or out, could be net touch, could be block touch, we don't know. And they, each other, probably have some misunderstanding. Coach requests for something, and the assistant coach push another kind of challenge. So in order to be proactive with this action, the second referee is going to the coach, head coach, to ask him, what do you want, coach? Just to confirm. And that's it. If this was a wrong or mistake by the assistant coach pushing the wrong button or requesting for wrong challenge, we can solve this by going manually with the scorer, and the situation is solved. It's nothing happened. This is to be improved. This is to be in favor of the game. This is to be getting a smooth refereeing in the match. Instead to say that before it happened, probably, no. You say something here, you have to take something here. You know, it's provoking some problem with not necessary at all. So this is the good way the referee is providing some smooth refereeing. But the coaches are not the show. The show is made by the players on the court and not by the coaches in there. So they cannot start to claiming the whole time, complaining, gesturing a lot. No, it's not. The referee must stop that. We must be clear for that. We are not, let's say we are a family sport, you know, but it's simple to everybody. And one of the main goals of the FIVB to become the volleyball in the number one family sport in the world. So we need to go improve this as well. It's not accepting such as big complaints, a big discussion in shows trying to be made by the coaches.
Okay, so this more or less concludes the questions that I prepared. Again, I have a notice that in 10 minutes, 9 minutes, this meeting would end again. But so we can use this 9 minutes if anybody has a question. So Ismail, I see you raising your hand.
Yes. Hi, Mr. President.
Oh, how are you?
How are you?
Good to see you, Dulce de Leche.
Yes, ice cream, dulce de leche. Yes, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I have, like, a suggestion. Instead of to have one challenge referee, it's possible to have 2 challenge referee in the matches.
Well,
So,
no, just one challenge referee is enough. There is a staff there that is a staff, you know well, that is a staff from the technical point of view, Hawkeye system, which is what we use in the FIVB. Officially, there are 4 or 5 people working in that area in the challenge booth, working with the technology. They are all experts working in technology, and not necessarily more than one challenge referee there. We're doing some, trying to do some adjustments for the near future in order to improve the service of the challenge system for volleyball. But it's not necessary to have 2 challenge referees.
Yeah, because
why
we
your
see
question,
other games.
Yeah. Why your question?
Why? Because of the decision. Sometime when the decision took by 2, like in other games, you know, for the football or whatever, for the basket also, they have not only 1. They have, I think, in football they have a 3 or thing for the. I think 3 referees they have in the football. I think so.
Yes, I think so. I saw in football like that, but this 3 referees mean 100 problems. 1 referee means only 1 problem. No?
Yes.
They don't have nothing to discuss. Is what he's watching on the screen, on the video footage is providing different angles for information, and that's it. Just 1 person. If there are 2 persons, could starting with discussing each other, and probably we waste time, a lot of time, and we are not getting the right decision sometimes.
Okay, and second opinion. There is a limitation for the first referee to ask for the challenge in the game.
There's what? Sorry, say again.
Limitation for the first referee to ask for challenge for himself.
For himself,
or
himself.
Yeah.
No limitation at all. No, the referees can request challenge for him or herself. We always advise them just to do it when there is a difficult situation, really deserving to be checked, and the teams has no more possibility for everybody. Ball close to the line, in or out, in the sitting possibility, 23, 23, 24, 23, let's say. And that the team is not longer, or has exhausted the 2 possibilities for the challenge. So the good deal for the referees to be at that moment say, okay, I'm requesting challenge by myself. But the referee must be immediately requesting the challenge, not doing a first signal for service sometime, somewhere, and then, oh no, okay, I want to challenge. First thing is when wish to challenge myself, and that's it. It's before to doing any signal, any other signal, okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question? We have still about 5 minutes to talk. If somebody wants to ask the president some other questions.
Yes, please.
Hey.
Yes.
Good to see you. How are you?
President. Hello, everyone. This is me, Khalid, from Saudi Arabia.
Khalid, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. Mr. President, I'd like to ask you about nomination for this year. We know cancelled because COVID-19, but you will remain this nomination for next year. Some referees is maybe age limit this year. He has a chance for next year or not?
Well, it's depending. It's, we need to consider those referees which were nominated for Olympic Games, and we need to consider that. But the other referees, VNL and some other competition during the year, is not necessary to consider very much or very grand. We need to see. You know, extension career for one more year after 55 years old is case by case. It's not all the referees. It's just case by case. First of all, it's only for referees which are in the A category of the FIVB. And then it's that the referees which are in the certain level, technical level, which really is deserving to be keeping one more year, to be offering one more year of activity in the world of the FIVB volleyball. So I cannot say now because I don't remember which one are in this moment. I can't remember. So, but anyway, we need to discuss again this at the end of the year. Not yet doing anything about that, Khalid.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You are welcome.
Thank you very much. We have 3 minutes, so if you have any short questions or anything, Mr. Paredes, would you like to add some stuff that you would like to say to us, to give us some small points or hints?
No, well, Roy, just to thank everybody for attending the meeting. I can't see anybody here, just see you and the other one when they made the questions. But I hope this could be enough good for referees attending this meeting. It could be good clarifying some points, some things, and appreciate your involving in these kind of actions, like we're taking profit, let's say, of the COVID-19 time, which this big pandemic in the world. We can do something in pro of refereeing. You are doing very good. Just congratulations for this idea. Congratulations for having this group of referees working and talking about refereeing, which is very good. Now we need, we are missing a lot the ball flying. This is what we need to have to be involved in the court, in volleyball court, to see a match, do something. And so I hope this could be close, but that could be within this year, solid situation. Thank you so much, Roy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paredes, for joining us. It was a real pleasure, very interesting, very informative. I think you covered very well all the questions that we had, all the information that we needed. If we have some more information or stuff, we can try to arrange some other meetings as well. Again, thank you all for joining us, for being together with us in this meeting with the president of the Rules of the Game and Refereeing Commission of the FIVB. We'll be in touch on our group, and have a safe evening, safe afternoon, safe morning to everybody. Choi from Korea, I think there it's already morning. And see you soon again on courts. I'm doing all this and we're doing that because I think that all referees in this level that we are, it's in our blood, it's in our psychology, it's in our brain. One part of the brain is stolen only for volleyball and only for refereeing, and nobody else can take it from us. And that's why we need, like a drug, we need to meet referees, we need to be on the court, we need to whistle. You saw my videos whistling on the traffic, on my children playing in the swimming pool. I have to. So thank you again. Have a very safe evening, and we'll be seeing each other again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Everyone have a safe night or safe day.